It's good to see you. Welcome to another edition of Bible Shorts with Biblebob. Obviously, if you're watching online, you can see that I'm standing in front of a whole bunch of tractors with American flags. So today is the day after Memorial Day, and some folks are still celebrating. And I thought it was so. There's actually two podcasts I'm going to do from this site. The first one is about the very first Memorial Day. And the second one is going to be about Harriet Tubman, who was the first, maybe the only woman ever to lead a cavalry charge during the Civil War and freed 700 enslaved people. So she's a war veteran. And when you think of Memorial Day, we celebrate and remember, and we do things in remembrance of the people who died for our freedom. So we do it in memorial for them. So Harriet is a story we'll talk about later in the next podcast, but I just wanted to mention it now to watch for that. But this one here, the very first Memorial Day it's kind of related to Harriet Tubman and slavery. Because you see, what happened was, at the end of the Civil War, there were 257 Northern soldiers, American soldiers, pro end slavery soldiers, whatever you want to call it, and they were held captive in a place. It was called the Hampton Racecourse in Charleston, South Carolina, and they were held outdoors, and 257 of them died from disease, dysentery, exposure, and then the war ended. The Southern people evacuated or left or were pushed out of South Carolina. And what happened at that point, freed enslaved people came and found a mass grave because when the Southern armies left, Confederate armies left, they hurriedly put all these bodies into a mass grave. And they came, they unburied the bodies, gave them a proper burial in a cemetery. So I'm going to let you take a look at that, and I'm going to step off camera for a minute and give you a little bit more information about it. And if you hear noise in the background, I'm sorry about that. But so basically what happened, the very first Memorial Day ceremony was held by freed slaves after the Civil War. When Confederate troops evacuated Charleston, newly emancipated slaves dug up a mass grave of fallen Union prisoners. They gave them a proper burial in a new cemetery, complete with a whitewashed fence and a powerful inscription, Martyrs of the Racecourse. On May 1st, 1865, a crowd of 10,000 strong, mostly freed slaves and missionaries, gathered for a parade. 3,000 black school children marched with bouquets of flowers, their voices ringing out with John Brown's body. Members of the 54th Massachusetts and other black Union regiments performed double-time marches. Black ministers recited verses from the Bible. The first Memorial Day was all about paying homage to the men who died fighting to abolish slavery. So there's no record of what Bible verses that those ministers did read. And it's possible that maybe they read from something called, maybe in Psalm 126. I'm going to read it for you here. So it's called Zion's Restoration. Zion is like a double meaning. It's like the city of God. It's like a heavenly city. So, and it was also an earthly city as well. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dream. Our mouths were filled with laughter then, and our tongues with shouts of joy. Then they said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us. We were joyful. Restore our fortunes, Lord, like watercourses in the Negev. Those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. Though one goes along weeping, carrying the bag of seed, he will surely come back with shouts of joy, carrying his sheaves. So when you think about the very first Memorial Day, and if you're able to see these flags fluttering in the wind. And I think at one point I actually counted all these tractors. God bless the guy that does this. In the background, he's also got a MIA POW flag. And so a couple of times a year, he puts up the flags. And there's like 30 or 40 of them. I forget what the count is, but it covers a whole, I guess you call it an acre here of flags. So that's the very first Memorial Day. And I'm going to get off here now and share this with somebody. Let them know that the very first Memorial Day was because of people fighting to free slaves. And the very first Memorial Day was held by freed slaves. That's a pretty spectacular thing. So that's all we got for this podcast. Go do something nice for somebody. Jesus loves you, and so do we.